are lots of things all around us, exciting things that surround us.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Things that go up, things that go down, things that go pop, things that go round, with special cameras to show you inside. It's going to be a big surprise.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Do you know?
Let's find out!
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm having a fun day out. I'm at a water park. Have you been to a water park? I love them. Playing in the different pools, splashing around, getting wet. Remember, you must never play near water without an adult. Slides are my favourite. But I love really big slides, like those ones. Do you know how a water slide works? Can you see all that water coming down the slide? The water helps to move you down, and it also makes you go faster and stops you getting stuck. But where does all that water come from, and where does it go? Let's find out. How does it work?
A water slide.
When you go on a water slide, the first thing you need to do is climb to the top. Now this is the top of the slide. And can you see there's lots of water running down it? This is what's going to help me slide down. First, I need to sit down like this. All I need to do is push off. But first, I'm going to put my special camera on my head so you can see exactly what it looks like as I go down the slide. Are you ready?
The water is going really fast and taking me with it. It's good my special camera is waterproof.
That was so much fun. Did you see how the water was carrying me down the slide? The water is always flowing downwards, and when you go on a slide, you go down too. And that's because of something called gravity. Gravity is what makes things fall to the ground. It's what keeps us and everything around us firmly on the ground instead of floating around in the air. Things like this ball. What do you think will happen when I let go of this ball? Will it go up or will it go down? What do you think? Let's go. The ball fell down, and that's because of gravity. But if gravity pulls things down, how does the water get to the top of the slide? To find out, I need to get dry. Ta-da! Come with me. I've got something exciting to show you. Right now, we are underneath the swimming pool. Not very many people get to come down here. It's called the pump room, and it's full of pipes and machines called pumps. A pump is a machine that moves liquids like water from one place to another through pipes like these all around me.
These pumps are working all the time to pump water to all those slides around the park.
And this is how a water pump works.
Underneath the pool is a tank called the sump. The water is sucked up from the sump and into a big pipe. It's a bit like sucking a drink with a straw. The water travels along the pipe to a big spinning wheel. The wheel spins the water around very fast and pushes it up another pipe. The water is pushed up and up until it reaches the top of the slide. Now, gravity makes it fall down the slide, and when it gets to the end, it whooshes into the swimming pool. At the side of the swimming pool is a hole called an inlet. Some of the water goes into the hole so that the pool doesn't overflow. It's a bit like the hole on the side of your bathtub. This water goes through a filter, which cleans it, and then along the last pipe into the sump, where it's ready to be used again.
How interesting is that? So this pipe here is the one that sucks the water up from the sump, which is just behind this wall. And inside this blue bit of machinery is the spinning wheel, which whizzes the water around really fast and pushes it up to the top of the water slide. It looks a bit like a blue snail, doesn't it? Let's see what happens when Mike turns the pump on. Ooh, listen to the sound of the pump. Wait a minute, there's another stage. Oh, that's the sound of the spinning wheel whizzing round and round, and all that water being pushed up to the top of the slide. Can you hear? Being underneath the swimming pool was so exciting. I loved seeing all of that water rushing out of the slide too. What was your favourite bit?
Do you remember the name of the machine that sends water around the water park? That's right, it's the pump. Did you hear the sound the big spinning wheel inside the pump made? And did you see how the water flowed down the slide when I was on it?
So the next time you go on a water slide, you'll know just how it works. There are lots of different places you can go to on a fun day out, but there's always one thing I like to have as a special treat. Do you know what it is? It's ice cream. Hello.
Hiya.
Can I have a strawberry ice cream with sprinkles, please?
Of course you can.
Thanks. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ooh, a treat. What's your favourite ice cream? Mine is strawberry. But do you know what this bit's called? This is the ice cream cone, and it's a really clever shape because it holds the ice cream whilst you're eating it, and then you can eat the cone afterwards. But do you know how an ice cream cone is made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
An ice cream cone.
An ice cream cone gets made here in a huge ice cream cone factory.
The ingredients that make up the ice cream cones have to be carefully weighed.
This big machine is called a mixer. Ice cold water and sugar are put inside and mixed together until the sugar completely dissolves. Wow! Oh, it smells so sweet. It smells a bit like popcorn. Now the other ingredients are being added, and the main ones are vegetable oil, which your family might use to cook with at home, and flour, just like you use to make a cake. But flour can get a little bit messy. In it goes! There's flour absolutely everywhere.
Next, it's time for the vegetable oil. Here it comes.
Listen to that sound. It's churning and gurgling like the inside of a volcano. In the middle of the mixer, there's a metal arm that's spinning round and round. Let's get a closer look with my special camera. The mixture is getting lovely and smooth, and the metal arm makes sure that it's light and has lots of air in it.
When the mixing is finished, it's poured into another container.
The finished mixture is called batter, and it's just like the batter you use to make pancakes. Look at the way it's just splatting into this big tank. And now we're off to the cone-making machine. tank of batter has been hooked up to the machine and we're ready to go. The batter is pushed along this blue pipe and into this metal moving arm. And at the end is a nozzle, which squirts out 5 blobs of batter onto this hot moving plate. The 5 blobs of batter look a little bit like a flower at the beginning. The moving hot plate is really special because it's got lots of little squares cut into it, and that's what gives the ice cream cones that criss-cross pattern, and it's called a waffle pattern. Now watch how a lid closes down on each blob of batter and squashes it into a pancake shape. It's ready to be cooked. And that happens in here. The moving plate loops around this hot oven, giving each circle of batter a quick bake. And here are the cooked circles. They look like pancakes, don't they? At the moment, the pancakes are still warm, so they're bendy, but the moment they start to cool down, they start to go hard. So this machine has to twist them into their cone shape really quickly. Otherwise, they'll cool down and it will be too late.
The pancakes are twisted into shape and they pop out of a chute at the end of the machine.
Now the cones are being pushed onto this conveyor belt so they can cool down and eventually be put into packets at the other end. And here is a finished ice cream cone. It looks great, doesn't it? And look, you can even see that lovely waffle pattern. All that's missing is some ice cream.
Some of the cones are made extra special by decorating them.
There are lots of different types of ice cream cones. Some are dipped in chocolate and covered in sherbet. Some are covered in sprinkles.
And now they're ready to eat for a special treat. Yummy.
What was your favourite bit about seeing how ice cream cones are made?
Can you remember the name of the mixture used to make ice cream cones? Yes, it's called batter. Did you hear the sound the mixer made? And did you see the batter being squirted onto the hot plate?
So the next time you go to a water park and you have a go on a water slide, you'll know how it works. And if you get to have an ice cream as a special treat afterwards, then you'll know how the cone was made and how it gets that lovely waffle pattern. This is very yummy, and I'll see you next time. Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm having a look at some animals that we can keep as pets. What animals do you like? What about a rabbit? They have very soft fur. Or a cockatiel. They squawk and cheep, don't you? You can even keep frogs as pets. Do you know what these are? That's right, they're goldfish. They're a lovely orange colour with a shimmer of gold, aren't they? To keep fish at home, you need to have a fish tank. But do you know how a fish tank helps to keep fish healthy? How does a fish tank work? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Fish tank.
To find out how a fish tank works, I've come here to an aquatic centre where they have lots of different types of fish which you could keep as pets.
There are big fish and small fish. Look, can you see those really tiny ones? This one is swimming along slowly.
I've I've got my special waterproof camera with me so we can see what some of these fish look like when they're swimming underwater. But remember, this is a special waterproof camera, so you mustn't try this with your camera at home. Okay, ready?
This is a big fish tank they have at the aquatic centre to keep lots of fish in before they are sold. Can you see them swimming about?
I love watching the way their mouths move. Can you see that? They go pop, pop, pop.
But if we want to keep fish at home, we need a much smaller tank. Shall we see if we can find one?
At the bottom of a fish tank, you might put a layer of little stones called gravel or perhaps some water plants. But do you know what this is? This black plastic box. It's called a filter and it helps to keep the water inside the fish tank clean. But do you know how a filter works? I think we need to take a closer look.
When we keep fish in a fish tank, we feed them fish food. This gives them energy to grow and swim around. When the fish have eaten and used the food as energy, they poo out the waste into the water. Fish also let out waste through their gills. This is how a fish goes for a wee. Fish wee has a chemical inside called ammonia that can be harmful to fish if it's left in the tank for too long. The filter removes the poo and ammonia from the water. Inside is a pump and a sponge filter. When the pump is switched on, it sucks in the water from the tank. The filter has lots and lots of tiny organisms inside called bacteria. As the water is pushed through the sponge filter, the bacteria turn the ammonia into a chemical called nitrate, which is less harmful to fish. And any bits of poo get caught in the sponge filter. So the fish have nice, clean, filtered water to swim around in.
That is so clever, isn't it? I've got a special underwater microphone with me. It's called a hydrophone, and the hydrophone will let us hear what it sounds like underwater. But remember, this is a special microphone, so you mustn't try this at home. Let's give it a go. Wow, can you hear that? If I take the hydrophone out, we can't hear anything. If I put it back in, I can. That's the sound of the filter working. Actually, if I move the filter up a little bit, oh, can you see it making bubbles on the surface of the water? Because waste builds up in the filter every couple of weeks, it needs to be cleaned out. And I happen to know one that needs cleaning today. I've been given special permission to clean this one. And the first thing we have to do is switch the filter off. Now I'm going to carefully lift it out of the water so that we don't disturb our little fish friend. Now, if I take the top of the filter off and have a look inside, we can see this part here. It looks a bit like a propeller, doesn't it? And that's what spins round and round and round to suck the water into the filter. Now, if we take a look at the other end, we have this spongy part. This is the sponge that traps all the bits of dirt and waste. And to clean this, I'm going to rinse it in some water from the fish tank. Let's give that a good rinse. A bit of a squeeze. Oh, look at all of those bits of dirt coming off. That's the poo and the plant and bits of old fish food. There we go. The sponge is much cleaner, but look how dirty the water is. But now we can see all of the tiny holes in the sponge. And that's where the helpful bacteria live that turn the ammonia into nitrate. All that's left to do is pop this back into the filter. And now I put this back into the fish tank. And there it goes.
Ready to keep the water clean for the fish.
Just need to wash my hands. I loved seeing how fish tanks work. What was your favourite part?
Do you remember what the part of the filter is called that traps the fish poo? That's right, it's called the sponge. Did you hear the sound the filter made while it pumped the water? And did you see all the fish swimming around on my special underwater camera? seeing all the bubbles in the water at the aquarium, did you? Where else do we see bubbles? Well, we use them when we're cleaning the dishes, or washing our hands, and I like to have bubbles in the bath. Baths need to be strong so they can hold our weight and the weight of all the water. Also, they need to be watertight, which means they can hold all of the water in. They also need to be smooth to sit in and shiny so you can clean them easily. But do you know how baths are made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Bath.
There are lots of different types of baths. Baths with straight edges. Baths with curved edges. And some even have doors. But how are baths made?
Baths are made here, in a bath factory.
Baths can be made from different materials, but the one we're making today is made from a type of strong plastic called acrylic. Here we are. This is a flat sheet of acrylic, and it's just enough to make one bath. Look, it's long enough for one person. But how do we make this flat sheet of acrylic curved like a bath?
The acrylic goes into the oven, which is set at 180 degrees. That's about the same temperature that you might bake a cake in your oven at home. The heat from the oven makes the acrylic soft and bendy, so it can be moulded into a new shape.
And after 20 minutes, the acrylic is ready to come out.
Whoa, look at that! The acrylic's gone all floppy. It's all wibbly wobbly, isn't it?
The wobbly acrylic is put onto a machine called bath tool and is clamped into place, ready to be shaped.
Air from tiny holes in the bath tool is blowing the wobbly acrylic up like a balloon to make the material stretchy. And now the air is sucking that wobbly acrylic into the bath tool. Wow! Look! Now it looks like the shape of a bath.
The acrylic is then left to cool for about 5 minutes until it becomes a hard shell.
Now it looks more like a bath, doesn't it? It's very light, but also it's too thin. We need it to be much stronger than this.
To see the next stage, I need to wear a protective suit because the acrylic shell is going to be sprayed with a material called fiberglass.
Fiberglass isn't like the glass you'd find in your windows at home. It's actually a type of plastic.
But it has tiny strands of glass inside.
The fiberglass starts curled up in these big reels called bobbins, and then it comes all the way over here to this. It's called a chop roving gun, and this is Vinny. It's his job to use it. The chop roving gun has a small spinning wheel with some blades on it that turn round and round, and that chops the fiberglass into short little pieces. Can you see?
And I'm putting a special camera on top of the chop roving gun so we can see how it works close up.
Take it away, Vinny.
Wow, look how fast it sprays.
The chop roving gun is blasting those little pieces of fiberglass onto the bath, along with a sticky liquid called resin.
Can you see the mixture sticking to the bath?
When that dries, it will make a strong, hard shell. But at the moment, the bath looks furry.
Next, a wooden baseboard is added to the bottom of the bath to give it even more strength. Then the bath is loaded onto a carrier and put through a heated tunnel to dry.
It's completely dry, and now the shell feels much stronger and harder. The bath is lifted up by this long suction hose, and it's taken over to another machine called a CNC machine.
Inside the CNC machine, any rough edges are trimmed by a spinning blade. And then Then a filing tool is used to make them nice and smooth.
Now, it really does look like a bath, doesn't it? But there is something missing. Do you know what it is? This bath needs 2 holes. One here for the plug hole, that's where the water drains away, and one here called the overflow. So if there's too much water in the bath, it can drain out.
Can you hear the sound of the drill making the plug hole?
Made it through.
The bath is then packed in cardboard and plastic covers to protect it.
And there we have a finished bath, all wrapped up, ready to be sent to the shops. What did you like most about seeing how baths are made?
Can you remember the name of the material that the bath is made from? That's right, it's called acrylic. Did you hear the sound of the drill as it made the plug hole? And did you see how the bath tool sucked in the wobbly acrylic to give the bath the correct shape? So the next time you see a fish swimming about in a fish tank, you'll know how the filter works. And when it's time for a bath, you'll know how it's made. I'll see you next time. And today, I'm at a hospital. Have you ever been to a hospital? You might have been to a hospital to visit someone who's poorly, they might have had an accident, or perhaps you've been poorly yourself. The doctors and nurses have lots of different ways to help people when they feel poorly or hurt, and sometimes they use clever machines to help them. They can look in your ears with one of these. It's called an otoscope. Looking good, Ted? And if they want to listen to your heartbeat or your breathing, they can use one of these. It's called a stethoscope. Just like that. But if we needed to look inside your body, we'd need to use a very special machine. And it's in here. I've been given special permission to have a look. This is an X-ray machine. And it can take pictures inside your body like this one. These are the bones inside somebody's leg and foot. How incredible is that? But do you know how an X-ray machine works to take pictures inside our bodies? Let's find out. How does it work?
X-ray.
Inside our bodies, there are lots and lots of bones. A grown-up has 206 of them. This is what it looks like when all those bones are together. We each have one inside us, and it's called our skeleton. Skeletons look really funny, don't they? But skeletons have a very important job. They help to shape our body so that we can move around, and they help move parts of our bodies, like our arms, our legs, and even our heads. Our bones are really strong and they help us to stand up straight, and they protect the soft parts of our body. But sometimes if we fall over or have an accident, a doctor will need to check if we've broken a bone. And for that, they might need to take an X-ray. An X-ray machine is a special type of camera that takes pictures that will show us bones underneath our skin. And this is Sarah. Hi, Maddie. She's a radiographer, and that means she's in charge of the X-ray machine here at the hospital. This machine sends out special rays of light called X-rays that travel from the machine right through your body and onto one of these. It's called a cassette. Having an X-ray doesn't hurt. We can't feel the X-rays when they pass through our body. And this is what an X-ray image looks like. Do you know what part of the body that is? Did you guess right? It's an arm. And there are 3 bones in the arm: the humerus, the radius, and the ulna. So this part is the elbow. But how does an X-ray machine work to send out those X-rays and make a picture of our bones? To find out, I think we need to take a closer look. When we have an X-ray, the machine makes a beam of X-ray light. X-rays are a type of light we can't see, and they're measured in wavelengths. The wavelengths travel through the air until they reach our body. X-rays are special because they can pass through our skin and muscles, but they don't pass through our bones. The X-rays are collected on the flat panel detector and sent to a computer so the radiographer can see the bones inside. The X-rays that pass through our body show as black areas, and the X-rays that didn't go through the bones show as a white shadow.
Wasn't that interesting? And we're going to get to see it in action for ourselves. This is James, and a week ago he broke his wrist. But today he's getting an X-ray to find out if his bones are in the right place so they can heal properly.
First, Sarah moves the cassette and X-ray machine into the right position. Can you see that red beam of light? That tells Sarah where the picture is going to be taken.
Only the person having the X-ray can stay in the room, so Sarah and I are just keeping behind this panel.
When Sarah presses this button, the X-rays travel from the machine through James's arm and down onto the cassette underneath. Then, Sarah carefully picks up the cassette that has saved the X-ray image of James's arm and puts it into this machine, which can show us the X-ray on the screen.
And here we have an X-ray of James's wrist.
James's broken bone is starting to heal, but he'll need to carry on wearing his plaster cast for another 5 weeks.
How incredible is that? Finding out how X-rays work was really interesting, wasn't it? What was your favourite bit? What about yours?
Can you remember what we call the machine that saves the X-ray information? That's right, it's called a cassette. Did you hear the sound that the X-ray machine made when Sarah pressed the button? And did you see the way bones show up as a white shadow on the X-ray image?
Learning about the inside of our bodies with an X-ray machine was really interesting, wasn't it? But what about the outside of our bodies? There are lots of things we put on the outside of our bodies to protect them.
Hats keep our head warm. Gloves keep our fingers toasty.
What about our feet? What do we put on our feet to keep those warm? That's right, socks! But do you know how socks are made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
Socks.
To find out how socks are made, I've come here to a sock factory. They make 1.5 million socks here every single year.
That's enough socks to stretch all the way from London to Edinburgh.
And they make them in all sorts of different colours and patterns.
They have blue socks, pink spotty socks, stripy socks,
And even socks with flowers on them. Which one's your favourite? Sock making starts here on a computer. This is Chloe, and Chloe is a designer, and it's her job to think of the different colours and patterns that will be made into socks. Socks are made from yarn, and all of the yarn is stored in here, the yarn store. Yarn is kept on reels like this called bobbins, and they have every colour you can imagine.
Most of the yarn here is made from wool, which comes from sheep,
Or cotton, which comes from plants. This machine is automated, and that means it works all by itself. And that part is where all of the threads are knitted together.
and the bobbins are put at the top of the machine.
There are 176 needles that work together at the same time, knitting round and round, building the sock up like a tube.
They work so quickly they can make a pair of socks in just 9 minutes.
On this type of knitting machine, the sock travels up a tube as it's being knitted. And when it's finished, it drops out the tube.
Here comes another one.
That made a fun flop sound, didn't it? But this sock is missing something. It's the right tube shape. But look! Oh dear, that's not going to keep my toes warm, is it? Don't worry, the toes get sewn up.
And they do that here, in the linking room.
Vicky puts the end of the sock onto a toe closing machine, and it's held in place by little pins called teeth.
Look, now the sock is on the machine, it trims the top of it off. And can you see the needle? That's what's sewing the sock together.
That's better. Now my toes won't poke out the end. But all the socks are inside out. Ta-da! That looks so much better, doesn't it? But because they have so many socks here, they use a machine to turn them all the right way out. And I've been given special permission to have a go. This is a sock turning machine. And this part of it is a little bit like a vacuum cleaner. All I have to do is pull the inside out sock over the end, and then it will suck the sock the right way round and then spit it out the other side. Ready? Just like that. Let's have another go. Inside out sock, over the nozzle, let go. This is lots of fun, but it happens so quickly. I think we should film this with one of my special cameras. This camera films in slow motion, which means we can film something that happens really fast and watch it back much slower. Here goes.
Look, as I let go of the sock, it gets sucked into the tube, turning the sock the right way round, before it drops down through the trapdoor. I think the sock looks like a snake.
That looks brilliant! I'd like a sock turning machine at home, would you?
But the socks aren't ready yet. They need to be cleaned inside this giant washing machine.
It's a bit like a washing machine you might have at home, only this one is 5 times bigger. It's massive.
After the socks have been washed, they need to be dried and ironed.
But they don't iron socks with an iron like this one.
Here they use
Special ironing legs. The socks are put on the metal feet that go round a track into a steam chamber. And inside the chamber, hot steam irons the socks.
Look, here come the ironed socks.
It's like the grabbers are pulling the socks off the feet just like we do at the end of the day.
After the grabber has stacked the socks, they're put on a conveyor belt.
And then they go through this machine, which lifts the socks one at a time and then places them back down on another sock to make the perfect pair.
And 2 socks make 1 pair.
And here we have a finished pair of socks. They look great, don't they? I loved finding out how socks are made. What was your favourite bit?
Do you remember what the coloured reels of yarn are called? That's right, bobbins. Did you hear the sound the door made when the sock came out of the tube? And did you see the sock being turned the right way round on my special slow motion camera?
So the next time you put on a pair of socks, you'll know how they were made. And if you see an X-ray picture, you'll know how an X-ray machine works to show us the bones inside our bodies. I'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm looking at the sky through my telescope. When we look through a telescope, we can see things that are really far away close up, like There's clouds and the tops of really tall trees. When we look through a telescope at night, we see different things, like the moon and the stars. And can you see that really bright dot in the middle? That's a planet. The moon, stars and planets are in space, and space is all around planet Earth where we live. But there are some things in space that are so far away we can't see them even if we use a telescope. So we have to use something else. This is a different type of telescope. It's called a radio telescope, and it's huge. But do you know how a radio telescope works? Let's find out. How does it work?
Radio telescope.
To find out how a radio telescope works, I come to an observatory. Wow! This radio telescope is so big. It's 38 metres wide. That's the same as 15 cars parked next to each other. A radio telescope collects radio waves to find out where things in space are. Radio waves carry energy through space, but they're invisible. We can't see them with our own eyes. They travel from space to Earth, but because they travel such a long way, they're not very strong or easy to find. So that's why we need something this big to find them. This part of the radio telescope is called the dish. And can you see the white box in the middle? That's called the receiver. But to find out how the dish and the receiver work together to collect radio waves, I think we need to take a closer look. Stars, planets and galaxies give off radio waves that travel through space towards Earth. Some radio waves hit the radio telescope. They bounce off the dish and into the receiver. The receiver turns radio waves into signals and sends the signals along cables to a computer. The computer turns the signals into colours, so we can see the radio waves as a picture. Scientists use the pictures to help us learn how far away planets, stars and other galaxies are. That was amazing. But to collect radio waves from galaxies, stars and planets, the radio telescope has to be able to point at different parts of space. The radio telescope can move up and down, round and round, but because it's huge, it moves really slowly. So I'm going to film it moving with some of my special cameras. And this special camera is going to record a time-lapse, which lets us see slow things happen much quicker. All set? Look, can you see the radio telescope moving? Isn't that brilliant? Oh, look at it now! It's turning around and collecting radio waves from space. Radio telescopes can be found all around the world. These ones are in America, in the mountains. And these radio telescopes are in the desert, and they work together to collect lots of radio waves at the same time. But how do all these radio telescopes know where to point? This is Ollie, and Ollie is a controller. It's his job to watch the telescopes and make sure they're all pointing the right way so they can collect radio waves from space. The radio telescope collects the radio waves and the receiver turns them into signals. Those signals get sent through cables to these computers. Can you hear that whirring sound? That is the noise of these computers working away. They collect signals from lots of different radio telescopes and send them to a supercomputer that's so special it stays locked behind this door. And this takes all of that information and turns the signals into a picture using different colours. Now let me show you something really special. This is a photograph of a galaxy. The galaxy is made up of lots of stars, planets and dust. Planet Earth, where we live, is in a galaxy called the Milky Way. This is a photograph of the Milky Way. It's beautiful, isn't it? But the pictures a radio telescope and a supercomputer make don't look like normal photos. The pictures they make show planets and galaxies as colours. Can you see the bit in the middle is red? That's because there's lots of radio waves, which means that's where the stars and planets are. How brilliant is that? I loved finding out how a radio telescope works. What was your favourite bit? Do you remember what the part of the radio telescope is called that collects the radio waves? That's right, it's the dish. Did you hear the sound of the computers that collect the signals from the radio telescope? And did you see the radio telescope spin around to find the radio waves on my special time-lapse camera? So the next time you look up at the sky, you'll know how a radio telescope works to find stars and planets that we can't see. Can you think of any games we might play where we need to find something? How about hide and seek? Here I am! Hello! Or how about a maze? A maze is a puzzle with lots of different paths, and we have to try and find the middle or the way out. Wow, look how big it is! Do you know how a maze is made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Maze.
All mazes have a middle, lots of paths, an exit, a way to get out, and an entrance, a way to get in. The rules of a maze are simple. Find the middle by choosing the right paths. Shall we give it a go? And I'm wearing one of my special cameras so you can see what I see. First, we go through the entrance. Look, there are lots of paths leading in lots of different directions. Oh no! Wait, can you see? There are some places where paths meet. When two paths meet, we say it's a junction. I think we should go left. Come on, this way. It's a blocked path. It's called a dead end, and it means we need to go back the way we came. Where are we going? We must be nearly there. Yes! Woo! We found the middle. That was so much fun. There are big mazes like this one, but you might have played with a small maze instead, just like this one. This small maze works in the same way as the big maze. Can you see all the paths and junctions? But instead of me trying to find my way around it, it's got a small metal ball inside called a ball bearing. But do you know how a wooden maze like this one is made? Let's find out. But first I need to try and find the exit. To find out how a wooden maze is made, I've come here to a craft workshop. Making a maze starts with one of these. It's called a maze blank. Can you see that it's made up of lots of circles inside each other? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We call these concentric circles. The green line on the outside will become the outside of our maze. This is where the entrance and the exit will be. The black lines, they show us where the paths of the maze will be. But how does a maze blank turn into a maze? First, the maze blank goes on top of a light box like this, and then a piece of plain paper goes on top of that. The maze design is drawn on plain paper laid over the top of the light box. This means the design can be drawn using the circles as a guide. Whoa, there we go. This is called our path map. The path map shows us the correct path through our maze. Next, we need to copy the path map onto the maze blank. To do this, we use little pieces of black tape to make the junction. Wow! So this is our finished maze design. It's got lots of different paths, junctions, and blocked off paths. But to make a wooden maze, the path map needs to go onto a computer. And here it is. This is Russell, and Russell sends the image of the maze path to this machine. It's called a CNC machine, and its job is to carve the maze path into the piece of wood. Do you want to see it in action? Look, can you see the drill cutting out the parts? It's called an end mill, and the computer is telling it where to cut. The end mill tool moves really quickly, so to see how it carves the maze path into the piece of wood, I'm going to film it using one of my special cameras. Right, ready when you are, Russell. My special camera lets us see things that happen quickly, much slower. Can you see all the little wood shavings flying off? Think a bit like little fireworks. And just like fireworks, really noisy, isn't it? Wow, look at this. All the different paths have been carved into the piece of wood to make our maze. All I need to do is pop in the ball bearing and we have a maze ready to play with. I loved finding out how a wooden maze is made. What was your favourite bit? Do you remember the name of the place where the paths join together? That's right, it's called a junction. Did you hear the sound the CNC machine made as it cut out the maze path on the wood? And did you see on my special camera how I tried lots of different paths inside the maze before I found the middle? So the next time you play with a maze, big or small, you'll know how it's made. And the next time you look up at the night sky, you'll know how a radio telescope works to help us learn more about other planets, stars, and galaxies. Right, I'm gonna have another go with this little maze. I'll see you next time.
There are lots of things